Travel, I think the first one was like a little over a year into my job. I think I was still a junior researcher. I think I was just lucky. Why did they pick me to go? Where did we go?
India.
No, we went to the UK.
Oh yeah,
we went to Scotland.
We went to the UK.
To meet with this professor, and we were basically just gonna have meetings. That was the reason for the trip. So we ended up just like having a good time, exploring Glasgow. We did some fun things together as colleagues. Like imagine being the young, like super young, and then you're there with your older colleagues. It was fun also because I had to travel by myself. So I met them there. I can't remember what the reason was, but like my flight details were different. But I really enjoyed that like alone time. I think that's also when I realized that I want to travel alone as well sometimes. And then also Kenya. I did a trip to Kenya for work. Also, I feel like I was really lucky. I got an email randomly, and then they wanted to invite me to be a network partner. But the experience, I had been to Kenya before, but the experience was so different because we were meeting like artists and creative communities, and we were it was like really immersive. So that was the first time going into Kibera, the biggest urban slum I think on the continent, and a place where like the first time I went to Kenya, everyone was like, don't go there. And then this time for work, we went there, but we were with people who lived there. It was just amazing, like meeting artists. We also did a bit of touring and like going to markets. It was just so chilled. I guess those are like
your
highlights. So when Dad speaks about like travel experiences for work and like going to Manchester, it just like it made me realize we have so much in common. Not even so much, but like we have that in common. So
that's amazing.
Work for me has in the past been a lot of traveling. When I worked for the Council of Churches, it was a lot of traveling. When I worked for even at Collar Packaging, although it was local, but it was traveling. But the Council of Churches was my best, which meant I had to travel overseas. But also working in Kangwane was also a lot of traveling. I went to UK a lot. I went to Brussels. I went to Paris. I went to a lot of places on government trips. But when I was at the Council of Churches, I went to Europe, many European countries. I also went to places like Germany, Netherlands, because of funding. Again, the same sentiments come. In all traveling I've had, there was always relationships or partnerships with funders or partnerships with people who are helping us with fundraising. But also on the training side, when I'm out for training or for conferencing, whether it's within Africa or outside of the continent, it was always about connection, relationships. Zambia, for example, we had a good relationship. Zimbabwe, we had good relationships with families, people we could go to families and stay with. And that has been the best traveling experiences. Not getting locked in a hotel, but relationships with people where they stay.
With me, it was a lot of local, honestly, which I still loved, because actually I wasn't fond of holidaying and visiting like places like Durban and PE and all of that. But a lot of opportunities when I worked in the production side of things allowed me to travel internally a lot more, which I absolutely loved. Recently, in terms of content creation, I went to Togo, which has been a huge highlight for me. Togo is a small country, and a lot of the times, a lot of these African countries are forgotten and are not seen as like the Mecca countries. But this trip allowed me to see another side of Togo. It allowed me to also, as much as it was really curated and I had no say in the curation of this experience, I did allow myself to speak to locals. I allowed myself to, when we went to visit the plantation, to just walk around, to find out what people do, what drives people there. So we experienced a lot of the stuff, we experienced a lot of the culture, we experienced a lot of the food, which is also like so different because it's also French. They have a huge French influence in the country. So it was great to just go there, experience, to create content, to storytell, and to show people a different side of Togo as a country. So for me, in terms of my content creation side of things, that was amazing. And yeah, it was quite eye-opening for someone who had thought it was very underrated as a country. So knowing that they have so many resources also, it was quite amazing. So yeah, loved it.
I'd say also most of my travels were work-based. When I worked for UNISA, I traveled a lot through the South African Institute of Distance Education. Traveled to Lesotho, to Swaziland, and a lot of places, Botswana. When I worked for South African Extension Unit, dealing with the returned exiles, I had an opportunity to work with the Tanzanian people, and I traveled to Tanzania twice, where I was receiving some training in terms of how to deal with the expatriates, the people that were returning to the country. It was beautiful, but at the same time you could see and compare South Africa to Tanzania, and some of the things were at a lower standard. Their 5-star hotels were equivalent to our, I would say, B&Bs, our guests, but the people were lovely, very warm, loving. We would, I would say, learn a lot. Traveling is educational in so many ways. You learn how to communicate with other people and also to be able to be at the people's level. That is very important, and it's humbling. For me, it is a humbling experience. I'll say some of the trips that I have been to include those with my sister Mpome, and the best one was when we traveled to the United States of America. She has a lot of friends there because she had stayed there for a year during her sabbatical leave. So I had my money that I had saved, and I was able to book a ticket for myself and also to have some pocket money out of my own savings. That was beautiful. We went to New York. We stayed around in Albany, and we stayed with a very loving family that has been to Pietermaritzburg, to our home, and Mpumi is best friends with them. They remain her friends, but they are very generous in so many ways. So we visited a lot of families. We were invited by different families that knew Mpumi to have lunch, to have dinner, to have breakfast. We were not at one place at any moment.
Our last family trip was in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, and we went to the coast. We went to Port Shepstone as a family. Like, it was the last one that we had both of my brothers there. We had my mom, my dad, me and my sister, and my sister-in-law, and the children. So both brothers' children were there, and yeah, that was the last one, with my brother being alive, my oldest brother, firstborn. So it was weird. It was a weird trip because we don't necessarily go to the coast for our trips. It was humid as hell. There were so many bugs around. It forced us to like deal with each other, you know. I think it was a weird trip. I don't particularly like have it as a standout trip in my head, and I don't have it as a, oh my gosh, that was so sentimental trip. Like, it was just weird for me. Also because my grandmother at the time was ill. My dad wasn't at the best mood. You know, they had to leave. It was just a lot of things were happening, and yeah, I would love it if we start going on another, like, plan another trip, because I feel like that trip was not like the best of our last family holidays, but it did allow us to bond, and it allowed us to be in each other's faces, like me and my sister and my older brother.
Yeah, let me share.
It was hilarious, guys.
So our dad
We also booked like a place that was built to work.
Yeah.
Said we'll talk about it.
So our dad was a member of some holiday club.
We don't
which
do
will
that
not
no
be
more.
named.
And we don't do that anymore.
Plan your
that's,
own trips.
that's how we used to travel, with holiday club or
Yeah,
whatever
holiday
that is.
club points and whatever.
Yeah.
So, gosh,
By
we got
mistake, he
2
chooses-
apartments, nah?
No, we had one, and by mistake he chose the 6 people one versus the 8 people one.
And there were so many of us.
There was 8 of us because
There were 8 of us. Oh yeah, including children.
Yes.
But it just made the whole living scenario in this
small
beachside
apartments.
apartment very tricky, because we're all grown adults for the most
Yeah.
part. And then there's also a couple, so they had to
They
have
had
their
to get
own
that
room.
room.
My parents had to get their own room, and then us singletons, the sisters and our oldest brother, Njabulo, had to share like
The
the couch,
Yeah.
like sleeper couch vibe.
Yeah. There was 2 sleeper couches. One would go this way and the other one, there was one sleeper couch and he then slept on the other long thingy. It was fun.
Guys,
though.
we were all like sleeping in the living room together.
Yeah, and then we were scared of like moths. Ew, guys, it was a mess. And we would just stay up there and would think, oh, should we sleep now? Oh, there's so many like stuff around. There's moths.
Yeah, we were scared. It was so much fun though, and like Toby said, it was a real bonding opportunity.
Yeah.
Like those living room moments when everybody else was in their nice cozy bedrooms.
Yeah, we were just.
Those were amazing because we got to bond.
Yeah.
I remember also like fun times. Like we were always in a swimming costume because it was so hot.
So hot and humid.
And then we would just like create our own fun. Like
go and get a
despite
beer somewhere. With
Yeah.
Let's go get a beer, guys.
yeah, and remember that dancing session that we
Yeah.
had in the apartment.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like you can, even when things like the context is a bit iffy
Yeah.
and you know people are a bit sad because our dad wasn't really feeling okay because his mom wasn't well, but we still somehow managed to find
Some
like a
sort of
spark in the whole thing. So
Yeah. It was cool, but yeah, memories live on in our minds and our heads more than anything. But yeah, that was our last family holiday together.
I remember that at that time, Umama at Nkandla was sick, was not well. She was even hospitalized in Richards Bay, had been taken there one morning by Umabuto. Therefore, our last family outing was not the greatest because our emotions were not at their best. Your dad also was not very well because we would call Umama and she kept on asking us when we were going to come back home. So we even had to cut our holiday by a day with him, and Setulo we left a bit, or I think the 2 of us left earlier so that we could see her in hospital on our way to Kandla. So those are the memories that come out clearly to
The timing was not just the best because of illnesses, but yes, the coast for me is never the best because of humidity and all that goes with it. I'm not a sea person. I don't get excited to get and put my feet on water. But it was great. It's memorable because of those incidents around us, and and with Njabulo and everything that followed after that. Yeah.
So places I'd love to travel to, we've already traveled to quite a few African countries, but I definitely would love to experience other African countries such as Morocco is top of my list, Senegal also on top of my list. I've got a few others that I'm thinking about and just seeing if I want to go to them. I definitely want to do Seychelles. And I definitely think I also want to get to a space where I can probably like solo travel to other European countries. I did fall in love with Europe and went to Germany, and so it would be nice to go back to like some pretty cool European places. I want to go to Porto since we went there. So I want to go to Porto, but Corona maybe in 2 years. But definitely want to explore this beautiful continent that we have and really explore South Africa. You know, I want to go to Eastern Cape. We did go when we were young, but we didn't really explore. I want to go to Eastern Cape. I want to go to the Titicama. I want people to come to Nkandla. I want to expose people to everyday living. I want people to, just immerse themselves in what South Africa has to offer. So that's exactly what I'm doing after the COVID-19 has subsided.
Yeah, I think in terms of local travel, definitely I've been to Limpopo.
Yeah.
Actually, I have been to Limpopo. Yeah. But I've never explored Limpopo. Yeah. And when I saw Toby's trip there, who were you with?
I've gone for so many
Limpopo, I think.
Go Limpopo.
But oh my gosh, like, guys, when you guys were on the horse, oh my gosh, the horse and carriage thing, I thought of Bali, I don't know where else I thought of, but I was like, that's so cool. I really like that. And Senegal also has that, like the horse and carriage thing. So I want to explore Limpopo, cultural side as well. I want to explore the Eastern Cape. I don't know if they still call it the Transkei region. I don't know if it's still called that today. But that region, the like rural, super green, rolling hills, just beautiful part of the Eastern Cape.
I would love to explore more about Africa. And I will mention places. Mauritius is one, because again, for me, traveling, it's about learning about economy, it's about learning about history, it's about learning about success, it's about learning about the best practices that those countries have. So Mauritius, for me, it's one of the model of what success is in a country that has very little. The other, for me, traveling is the connection of places like Zambia, Namibia, Zimbabwe, and Botswana, that and South Africa. And for me, that doesn't need any traveling by air. It needs traveling by road to really find the treasures of what these countries are having. Lastly, the other country for me which is interesting would be Rwanda and Angola. And I think there is so much to learn from those countries. Angola, I think, has had a lot of historical sites of slavery and other experiences which we don't know. But also Rwanda has come from a very terrible history, and they are currently doing exceptional things in what we hear, but living it and being with them would teach us a lot of exciting things about success and about leadership and about running of a country. So that's me.
Also want to explore the Western Cape more. But more than that, I want to explore the Northern Cape. The Northern Cape is like big, and like things are far apart from one another, and the population is really low. But I find that interesting about that province. We went to what was that area? There's a small town called New Bethesda. It was so special. Remember that funny museum?
The Owl House.
The Owl House. Oh my gosh. And I feel like that's like a small town that you can explore in 2 days, but it's really nice. Like you can walk around the whole town. Then also I want to do more African travel for sure, and I don't really discriminate when it comes to the continent. I mean, there's some places that are risky, dangerous, and all of that. I think the most important thing when traveling anywhere, if you feel like unsafe, is making connections with people who live there. But Senegal is definitely like top of list. I mean, everywhere, guys, everywhere. Like, I can't believe I haven't been to Mozambique.
Like
What is
also,
that? Haven't been to Zim.
like,
Haven't been to Zambia.
like,
Haven't been to Namibia.
like.
And then also want to explore South America.
Yeah,
I feel like
Dineo Zonke.
yeah, Dineo Zonke has just like
Put it on a map.
I'm so impressed. I feel like
Yeah.
South America is so vibrant. I feel like
The
the food is
culture.
amazing, their culture rich, graffiti, the art scene. I really, really love that. So yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to going to places like Egypt as well as Israel, because I just want to connect spiritually with those places, see what would offer me a kind of connection with my beliefs, and just being able to follow in Christ's path and experience that would, I think, kind of be a lot of development and growth spiritually for me. So that's what I'm looking forward to, but I'm also open to visiting any other place in Africa, Japan, Singapore, you name it. The sky's the limit. Let's see what time can offer me.